All right. So this was a Slumdog Millionaire. It was a 2008 movie, won multiple Academy Awards, and it was a story around some Indian Muslim boys. I was reading they were Muslim, and the one boy, Jamal, was had been got himself into a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show, I think in an effort to reconnect with his friend, the girl Letitia, is that her name? What? Lottie?
Latika.
Latika.
Latika or Latika.
Latika.
Latica. And
Attica.
so he goes through a series of questions while he's on this Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Millionaire.
Yeah.
That should be a
Millionaire, yeah.
250,000 error.
Yeah.
And he surprisingly gets all of the answers right. And so they go into the story of he's being questioned by the police on how he could have possibly done this. And it goes through the story of each question of how he was able to come up with the answers that he did. So, I mean, this was the second time I'd seen it. I saw it when it first came out and loved it when it came out, and I really liked watching it again. I thought it was really good, and I know I asked that you give us the meaning behind the show, or what you think the meaning is, and I can tell you that like an internet search says that the meaning of the show is never give up, but it had also had a lot of other things too. I mostly liked it for its view into the culture, Indian culture, and how it portrayed it, and what life could be like there, or probably is like there. So curious to hear what everybody else thought of the movie. I'm sure almost everybody's seen it before, but like me, they probably hadn't seen it for a long time.
I'll start.
I'm with Mattson. The second time, now the third time, because I watched it twice this weekend, once by myself and once with Joan. I'd forgotten that all the life experiences led to the answers to the questions. After seeing it for the second time, it seems like a very straightforward story script is, put together a show where you answer all the questions to be a millionaire and then plug in all the life experiences that give you the answers, and you have a movie. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I did too. I thought I love that idea of that flashback or whatever you want to call it. That every answer you figured out how he knew it. It was just a wonderful way to show what this movie was about. But then overall, that is the love story, which is, love story, happy ending. Guy comes up from the slums and becomes I mean, everything about it is just feel good. And that's how I was when I left this. I just felt good. It's a great, it's just such a good movie, and it makes you just feel good.
I do not want to see the sequel where he wins $1 million and then how does he lose it? I don't.
Who wants to lose $1 million?
Yeah. How many beggars does he have to pay off? It's like, okay, here I'm famous. Okay. Yes, here's a couple more.
True.
Jeff Arthur, I think I stepped on you right at the beginning, and I apologize.
No,
but I had to
okay.
get it off my chest. Sorry.
I was going to say I did see this before a long time ago, but I had totally forgotten everything about it. I didn't even remember the game show part of it, but I really enjoyed it again. I think, Bill, you mentioned about the culture and stuff, and I can only assume that that's accurate. Gary, maybe you can fill us in and tell us if that's what you saw, but
The people knocking on our windows asking, and it's true. If you have a disability, or if you have a baby in your arms, everybody's got a reason to ask you for money, to try to appeal to you. I'm not just asking for me, I'm asking for my little brother, I'm asking for the baby I have in my arms, I'm asking because my arm is deformed, I'm asking because I'm blind. Uh, it's a thing. I mean, it's constant. It's constant. I mean, they're all starving to death, and they're all hoping that you'll, give them a few coins. And there are snake charmers who sit on the side of the street and try to, blow into a flute, hoping that a cobra will come out. Then you find out later the cobra has never been venomous. It's just an attempt to earn a few coins. It's relentless.
is it all like
Yeah.
trash everywhere and stuff? You just sea of
Yes.
trash. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The other thing I
I
wondered
mean,
about
there
was
are nice upscale modern areas of town, but they're the minority. A lot of tin roof huts and shanties everywhere.
so
Where,
what
Just
was
in
the deal with
Mumbai.
the people coming in and with the sticks and beating and killing all the people because they're Muslim? Are those
Well,
Hindus, or I mean,
well,
who are those people?
there's a lot of tension. There are the Sikhs, and they
Sikhs.
Sikh. They are a sect. Um, and then there's the Muslims. And back, if you watched the movie Gandhi or followed all that, there was an effort to, he tried to make it possible for everybody to live together, but then um, um, I'm losing track of the
Pakistan.
neighboring
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
They pushed them out and dislocated them. That created a whole thing of, so there is simmering violence under the surface there all the time, and occasionally, explodes and rears up. And I think that's what you saw. They were Hindus. They were trying to push out the Muslims in that particular neighborhood or that particular colony. It's on the surface, it looks like everybody gets along, but you don't have to scratch very deep to find out that that's not the case.
Right.
So the police don't do anything about that kind of thing.
No, if it's a bunch of Hindus chasing out Muslims, the police are Hindus. And the
Right.
current president there, Modi, he is an authoritarian who is even more extreme anti-Muslim, and there's a lot of tension there right now. Mahoney probably knows more than I was able to witness, but it's pretty severe.
Yeah, Pakistan's primarily a Muslim country, and most of India is Hindu, and that's the source for the religious violence.
And there is a part of India where the Sikhs, like Pakistan, would like to have their own colony or an area, and there are Sikh separatists, and one of them came to Canada to try to build some sort of momentum towards that, and he just got killed recently, which by Canadians, which led to a bunch of Canadians not being allowed in India because of that. This has nothing to do with the movie. There's just a lot of undercurrents there that get glossed over. And if you're a tourist, they make sure you know little about it. But if you
Yeah.
dig a little deeper and ask around, there's a lot of tension.
Yeah. Well, I was just, I'm learning about the culture as through the movie. So
Yeah. Well, same as us. Yeah.
yeah,
I've got a question. I hate to put this all on you, Whit, but remember when we watched Shantaram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me think a lot about it when you would see the slums and that sort of thing. And then you went to some place that was the front door of where the guy hung out in Shantaram, right?
Yeah, the Leopold Cafe.
There you go.
Yeah. And there was I think I sent a picture to a few of you. There is an
Yeah.
area where they do laundry, and the slum people have turned it into a for-profit project where they take
Business, yeah.
laundry from all over the area, and they take hospitals and like the police department, and they do their uniforms. So there is some, you know, there is some business that comes out of that, but you know, it's interesting. But yes, Shantaram was that was the slum where we were.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's the setting for this movie? It's Mumbai. What did they say?
Yeah, Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Yeah, the meeting place where
Is that down south?
Latika and
Jamal.
Jamal, their rendezvous place, you know, where he spots her and then she gets taken away and then he spots her again. That was at the train station, and that is
Right.
in downtown Mumbai.
And is that down south, in the south part of India?
Yes, yeah, southwest, yeah.
And that's where they did that that final dance, the
Yeah,
Bollywood
that's in the train
dance.
station. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flash mob.
Yeah, flash.
Every Bollywood movie, no matter how upbeat or how downbeat, has one of those
Ads.
dance scenes in it. It
Right.
doesn't matter. They always
Yeah.
throw that in. Yeah.
I know, but it's so fun. I just love watching
Yeah.
it.
Even if you don't like the movie, you might like the dance scene at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
When we visited the Bollywood studios and they showed us, we went to 3 or 4 places where they were filming soap operas. One of the things they did was took us into a studio where they did a dance demonstration, and we all got to go up on stage and dance with them.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You don't
How
want to see the
fun.
video of that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. How much?
How fun.
Not quite like the last dance scene here, huh?
No, well, it was, except not quite as big. But yeah, we did similar choreography.
How fun.
We just didn't have 100 people behind us.
And then I just wanted to mention for the newer folks, Shantaram was a 10-part series that we watched. It was one of Terry's favorite things. And every once in a while, we'll watch the whole series and then talk about it. And that was one of them.
Yeah, that was good.
Not seen it.
But Bill, you asked, you know, what would be your take? My takeaway is pay attention to even the bad stuff that happens, because you never know when you're going to need it on a game of Jeopardy or, you know, Who Wants
Yeah.
to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
Millionaire.
Mhm.
File that away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What I loved,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
no, I was just gonna say, what I loved was their quote that it is written.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that was
at the
important to
end.
them. Well, it was also at the beginning. The
Yeah.
very beginning too, so you knew that it was going to have, you know, a part in the movie that really meant a lot, and it did. And so what else? Let's see, there's love, there's
What do you
friendship.
think that meant, Chris?
It's like, I don't know if
Destiny.
I call it karma or not, but this is the way it's written, and this is the way it's going to happen, and it's going to be, regardless of the poverty and the killings and everything else that goes on. This is the way it's going to end up. It is written.
But he still had to make a choice at the end. He still had to make a guess.
Well, at the very, very end of the movie, though, it said, it is written.
Oh, I know that. But what
Yeah.
is written?
I thought it
Because he
was
wrote the
destiny.
answer on the he wrote the answer on the mirror and wrote down B,
No,
which was
it
not
has
the right
nothing to do
answer.
that. This is more has to do with your belief, karma, what you think the future is going to hold. It has nothing to do with A, B, C, D.
Yeah,
You
I think
know,
he knew he was going to end up with Latika. It had nothing to do with the money. He didn't care about the money.
yes.
I
At the
think
opening of, yeah, at the opening of the movie, they had the 4 choices, and the last choice D was "It is written," and then at
Yes,
the end of the movie, that was the choice.
yes, yes. It's all about your belief and, you know, what do you
Yeah.
believe is going to happen? Do you believe strongly enough that you'll end up with the girl, that your love is strong enough that whatever you have to persevere to get there, it's going to happen, but ultimately it will be what you want it to be.
It's
way it is.
destiny. Yeah.
Destiny, yeah. It's all kinds
I
of
would-
words. Pick
So
one.
what led him to pick the right answer? Chance?
Oh, he was on to that guy. I mean,
He read the
host of that
guy.
show.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we
You
gave him
mean-
the bad answer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But the final answer,
You mean Artemis? Wasn't Artemis? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Well, the final
Aramis.
answer was Aramis.
right?
Yeah.
I think he guessed.
Yeah, right.
So it's not written, it's a guess.
But that wasn't the
Well, I
question.
think
It has nothing to do with that.
I kind of agree, Chris. I think that it is written is about the whole story. Is that
Yes.
this
It's a
was
love story.
destiny.
Yeah.
It's a love
Yeah.
story.
It-
It's destiny. At the
It's
beginning, when
destiny,
they were
it's
kids,
karma, it's whatever word you
and
want.
at the end,
was-
they
do
got
it.
together, and
Yes.
that's all. And that was just one of the ways that they could get together. At least that's what I thought. I didn't think that connected to the questions, I guess.
No, it didn't. It had nothing to do with the questions.
Well, but if he'd guessed wrong, what would the outcome have been?
And the only reason he was there is to make sure that Latika, because he knew that she watched this.
So it
All
didn't
he
matter if
wanted
he
to
was right
do-
or not?
Exactly. He didn't care.
That's
I
why he was
mean-
so happy at the end. He'd already hooked up,
Yeah.
or, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
set
he
the
got-
deal with Latika because he talked to her on the phone.
Right.
So he didn't care if he won the 20 million.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who needs it?
Which is hard to say, but yeah. I think he
I looked
started
up
out that way.
I looked up the exchange rate for whatever, what was
Mhm.
it, 10 million rupees? It's now worth
20.
about $200,000. 20 million rupees is only worth about $230,000 now.
Yeah. Well, it's a millionaire in rupees. Yeah.
In India, that's a lot of money,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. For sure.
But it's not $1 million.
Yeah. I'm a millionaire. That's so
Was anybody else guessing the wrong musketeer? I mean, I know.
I
I
yelled out,
guessed the
D'Artagnan!
well,
guess
I always
too.
think of D'Artagnan, but he's the fourth
Yeah.
musketeer. Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
but-
guessed the wrong one.
Me too.
I would have lost all the money.
It was good. It was such a good feeling movie.
Worthy of it. What did it win? 10 Academy Awards?
Something like that. Yeah.
I think
A
8,
lot.
actually.
Huh?
I got
8.
nominated for 10 and won 8, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I think so. Salim played a very interesting part in this movie too. He had kind of gone to the dark side, but at the end he turned. I guess because he saw the virtue in his brother and the value of the love between him and Latika, and he sacrificed himself completely for that. It was interesting how he did that, where he buried himself in cash.
Yeah.
But it was that I thought was a very touching part of the movie, and
Yeah.
that's the only thing it wasn't super feel good about it. Was
Right.
that.
Right.
Also, I think that there was kind of a, keep at it kind of a thing. Don't quit, but also look at everything that happens to you as some kind of an opportunity that, okay, we got thrown off the train. What did we roll into? We're at the foot of the Taj Mahal. So what are we going to do there? We're going to hustle the Taj Mahal as big as we can, steal shoes, this is cool. These people leave their shoes outside. Let's do this thing. You know, and they just, every chance that came up, it was that. So just going on this game show, just another example of them taking the opportunities as they presented themselves. And I thought that is a life lesson by itself.
Mhm.
The being the tour guides was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seemed like he
Yeah.
was making some things up there.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
5-star hotel, but the
Yeah.
pool is finished.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good.
She died in a traffic accident
On the way to
on
childbirth.
the way to the hospital in the 1500s. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
You can't believe what these lazy beggar tour guides tell you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well,
Would you-
there are people at the Taj Mahal who are, and they have value because they will tell you, follow me, and I will tell you the best vantage point to take a picture of the Taj Mahal. Just give me a couple bucks, and it's worth it. You know, they're
Yeah.
hustling. They didn't steal my shoes, but they did show me where to take
Where
the
to take the best picture.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's something
That's
something
cool.
And there
valuable
it
there.
is. It's worth it. It's amazing how creative when they don't have anything to figure out a way to get money. It was just it was so creative. All of them.
Follow me.
just-
I'll show you where the short line is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
So much. I was someplace, and for the life of me, it's because I'm friggin' old. I can't remember where, but I remember thinking to myself, this slum was so amazingly, it was just, what's the word? I just felt so horrible for these people because this slum they were living on top of this garbage heap, and their homes were on top of this garbage heap, and it was just so awful. And yet when we walked by, we didn't really go in, but close enough that everyone seemed so happy. I know that it just seemed like they were connected, they were together, whatever it was. But that I felt this horrible dread, but they didn't. At least my experience of them is that they didn't. And that was kind of eye-opening. It was like, it doesn't matter where you are or how poor you are, or even if you're living on a garbage dump, if you're with people that you care about or that care about you, it seems like life can work, or life keeps continuing. So that was an interesting eye-opening experience for me, and I can't for the life of me remember where I was, but it was somewhere that I was just shocked at how I think it was probably, Gary, like when you were in, and I wasn't in India, but these homes or these shacks, or these were like plastic tents that were kind of on top of the garbage heap, and then there were fires, and then there were but
I can remember driving out of Mexico City on the way to Acapulco. And as you got outside of Mexico City, I think you're still in Mexico City, but because it's a huge, maybe one of the biggest cities in the world. It was like that. So it could have been easily somewhere in Mexico there. They're just shacks.
yeah.
Well,
It's
there
just,
are a lot of places in the world where people live in high rises, and a lot of places where there is no kitchen. There is a bedroom and maybe a bathroom, and that's just where they go to sleep. But where they go to live is back out on the street, where there are sidewalk restaurants and cafes and street food, but they don't think of that as I'm deprived because I don't have a full kitchen with a dining room and a
Yeah.
refrigerator and a separate freezer in a separate room. That for them, the idea of eating is, going out and being with each other and seeing each other, and that's their social life. It's
Connected.
like a giant living room to them. That's what makes life worth living. They only go back to their apartments to sleep. And it's so foreign to us, where we go and we live in our homes, we hide and we eat one or two together, or maybe by ourselves if we're unfortunate to have to live by ourselves. That it's flipped. They have such a sense of community and shared food and shared experience, and that's the majority of the world that I've seen, not the exception.
Right.
I think that we're trapped by our expectations a lot of times. And if their expectation is to live that way, they're perfectly happy. If they expect to live on a dump, and that's where all their friends and people live, that's where they're supposed to be. We just have such high expectations for standard of living that all of that stuff seems intolerable to us. But if that's how you come up, that's what you expect. You can be happy.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
in the eastern cities, Philadelphia, New York, people tend to live out on the street and interact out in the street more. As you move further west, where the car has taken over, the ideal is you get in your car and you drive home to your couple of acres, into your private home, into your private dining room, and you don't see anybody. And so we've sort of conditioned ourselves to be isolationists, and that has created a whole set of new problems.
Right.
But Jeff, the idea that for them, being together, eating together, and rubbing shoulders all the time, I think they are happy that they get to see each other, and it's not unusual to sit down at a cafe and see people who don't know each other, but they assume, well, we're in the same world together.
Yeah.
And so I can strike up a conversation with you. You just happen to be sitting at the coffee at the table next to me. So we've got that in common. Let's go from there. And with 1.4 billion people in India, there's a lot of people rubbing elbows out in the street all the time.
Yeah. Well, even in Ireland, as my Irish kinfolk can attest to, I tell everyone that goes to Ireland, you go to the pubs and you sit at the bar. Don't sit at a table, you sit at the bar, and you will get to know everybody in the bar. And that's the best part. I mean, you get to know all the people from the neighborhood, and they want to know where you're from. It's just this really connecting thing. When I suppose in Ireland, it's when you're drinking together, but whatever, there is something about that. And what I feel so sad about is when I see these kids that are on the internet and they're not connecting. And I think I told you this a while back. This was a number of years ago. I saw kids in the same room. This was my nieces and nephews, my grandnieces and grandnephews, that were in the same room and texting each other. They weren't talking to each other, they were texting each other. So, when I see people getting together, I think it's great. Even Zooming, it's kind of fun.
But do you think this is Danny Boyle's best work? I mean, we've seen Train Spotting. He's done some other things, but I know we like Train Spotting.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is in my opinion, I like it way better than Train Spotting.
Has won more awards for sure. This movie does seem to be well put together. Train Spotting actually was pretty well put together, but the quality wasn't quite like this one.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to talk about the arc of the characters if I could for a minute. No, not really. Not really.
I got it. I got
was
it.
like,
Thank you.
okay.
Go, Mike Mahoney, it's your turn.
What do you think, Mike? You like Danny Boyle, I think.
Either
Okay.
Mike.
Yeah, either Mike.
Well, I'll be the curmudgeon here. I had, I know this is a well done film, and it won lots of awards, and a lot of people like it. I had a suspension of disbelief problem with it, and maybe it's just the mood I was in when I was watching it. It just never clicked for me. As close as it came was, I thought there was a bit of a, in my mind, it was Forrest Gump, several Forrest Gump moments, in the sense that when he did remember the information from various events, it just seemed how convenient that those happened to be the questions that he had to answer. But I don't think I'm the best judge of this, because my head just wasn't there when I was watching it. I guess, and I know I'm in the minority on this. It's just
Well, Mike, there was a
didn't pull my trigger.
there was something that I saw. It was called Behind the Scenes. I think it was Behind the Scenes of Slumdog Millionaire, or somebody that, and they had those same things that it wasn't they didn't think it was real. One of the things I remember in this Behind the Scenes was that, let me get this straight, these guys that are on motorcycles can't beat these kids, these little kids that are running. They can't reach them. And then when they finally do reach him, it's just one guy versus all these little kids. And everybody comes out and beats up that one. I mean, it was, again, that disbelief of these things that were happening during the movie. I was happy to just, to suspend my judgment about that. But there is a whole thing about how it wasn't, believable, and but it's, I think,
and I recognize it's a movie. Okay, they're
Yeah,
telling me a
it's a
story.
movie,
Okay,
yeah.
I get all that. It's
Yeah.
just it just didn't click for me on this one. That's all.
Well, what's comforting to me is to know that every organization needs a Terry Atkinson,
No,
we don't
I'm not
need-
going there.
but we don't need two.
And I'm not applying to pinch hit either.
The part that rang false for me was that they pulled him out and tried to beat some sort of confession out of him with the host of the show saying, "Well, it's my show,"
Yeah.
as if he was trying to avoid ponying up $1 million. That was the part that I thought went off track.
yeah. Hmm.
Okay,
I-
other Mike
Other
turn.
Mike, I saw it a long time ago, and I saw it over the last weekend or whatever. And the YouTube version was really shitty. So I rented it on Vudu. But it reminded me of a lot of different things, like I said, Shantaram. And when you're talking about the people they can live in a dump and it's okay. There's I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but there was a documentary on Netflix called Blue Zones. Anybody ever hear of that?
Oh, yes,
Sure.
yes.
That guy went around the world looking for centenarians. And how did the people live to be 100 years old? And there's
Yes.
a cluster of them. He would mark it on a map as a blue zone. Why is that? And among the things was having a community. They never retired. They had jobs, like they were sheep herders. But when they got older, they didn't sheep herd all day. They would do a little in the morning and then go have some coffee with people in town. There were people there were no single people who lived by themselves. If someone, for some reason, never had their own children or didn't have anybody to take care of them, they would take one of those people in. And he showed an example of that. He found them in Japan. He found them in Greece.
Italy.
In Italy. I was fascinated by that whole thing. What is it that makes people live longer? And that was
California,
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's a-
California.
California, yeah.
There were some there too. And he was talking about how they were trying to replicate it in America. He was working on that at the time, but I don't know if that ever came about. But anyway, that I thought of that too when all those people are trying to be get by and living in a dump and all that sort of thing. I was taken one time when you talk about little beggars or whatever. When I was in New Orleans one time, I was walking along the levee, and a kid came up to me and he goes, "I can tell you where you got your shoes." And I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I can tell you for $5. I can tell you where you got your shoes." Okay, so I gave the kid
I already
$5.
know.
And he goes, "You got your shoes on your feet, and you got your feet in New Orleans. So your shoes are on your feet in New Orleans. That's where they are, right? That's
Give
where
me,
you got your
give me
shoes."
$5.
But I thought that was worth $5 just for the
Absolutely.
It was good.
entertainment
Gotcha.
value. Because some guy was playing saxophone on the levee by himself with his case
Mhm.
open. There was people who were just wandering around. So I had no problem with that. But I have seen abject poverty too, where when I was going on cruises and things, we'd pull over and nobody wanted to get off the boat because it was all shacks and starving dogs and that sort of thing. And you wondered how long they were going to make it. But anyway, I thought it was a good movie. It was a little Hollywood for being Bollywood.
Yeah.
It was a feel-good movie. It was almost a rom-com in a way. But I enjoyed it, and I think it was a great pick, Bill.
Well, a lot of people gave it awards, so I knew it'd be pretty good.
Since we've made it around the horn, is it time for King Arthur to tell us what we're going to watch next week?
Oh yeah. Okay. So Mahoney went away, but that's all right. It's called Man on Wire. It's
Oh, yeah.
about in 1974, Philippe Petit did an illegal high wire walk between the Twin Towers. So
Oh, yeah.
it's a biography / crime movie is what they say. So it's free on Vudu and Tubi, or it's also on iTunes and Prime and a few other places.
Cool. Oh, I
And
never
it's
saw that.
and it's short too. I think it's only an hour and a half or even less.
Donna, you've never seen it?
No.
I never have.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
Oh, good.
Is it a
Good.
documentary?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well-
I've never seen it.
You have never seen it?
No.
Oh, you're in for a treat. So
Good.
this weekend I saw Unfrosted on
No.
Netflix. Has
I
anybody
haven't.
seen it?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I intend to.
Seinfeld.
It's got so many great early 60s
Yeah.
references. You
Stuff.
can't keep up with them. You can't
No.
keep up with them.
Yeah. And
Did
all the characters in there, the people. I mean, Hugh Grant as Tony the Tiger. Oh, please. Yeah.
So you saw it?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see all of it, believe it or not. I had to leave, so I haven't seen probably the last half maybe, but I saw a lot of it. And I was just some of it is just so hokey and funny,
Oh,
and yeah.
You
And
really,
I saw.
really liked it? You really liked it, Gary?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
I want to
fun.
go back and watch it because I'm pretty sure I missed half the gag lines because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just one after another after another. Every
Right.
comedian who's working these days has a bit part in it somewhere.
Yeah.
Bill Burr is JFK. I mean, it's. And I
Yeah.
also went to see Fall Guy yesterday.
And
That's not
Oh.
getting good rating.
It's spectacular and
Really?
good.
I mean, it's just sheer entertainment. I'm not sure there's a lot of deep meaning to it, but it's every Hollywood trick shot, bank shot, three three bank shot thing you can think of. And, you know, and it's a rom-com with more action than,
Wow.
well, I'm trying to think of Mad Max. I mean, it's like Mad Max level stunts.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Great.
Wow.
Did you know that the stunt people are trying to get an Academy Award for stunt?
Yeah.
Best stunt. I
Yeah.
thought that was a great idea.
Mhm.
Well,
I
it
think
comes up
is
in the
too.
movie. It
Oh.
comes up in the movie. And then I started
Good.
watching Tom Wolfe's Men in Full, which is a series on. I'm a couple episodes in, and I think that's on Netflix too. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one, and it's actually 6. So
6. Okay,
Is
Yeah.
it good?
so I'm a
Well-
third of the way through.
if you like Jeff Daniels, I thought he was great in this.
I love Jeff Daniels. Yeah.
Then you'll like it.
And if you
What's-
like Tom Wolfe,
Yeah.
I started watching The Firm. Now, you know, we have all seen The Firm, the movie, but this is kind of like after he's been in what do you call it? You know, where he changes identities. Witness protection. Yeah, he's been in witness protection for 10 years and decides no more, and just, you know, goes back to his real name. And it's kind of interesting. I haven't seen all of it, of course. It's a series, but it was pretty good. I mean, I like The Firm, the movie, and I'm finding this one is kind of interesting because I've seen about 3 or 4 of them, and every one episode kind of takes a client that he helps, and then there's an underlying story that's running throughout the whole thing. So it's kind of interesting. It's pretty good.
I also watched The Challengers. Did I mention that last week?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tennis movie.
Uh-huh.
That's of the things I've seen recently. That was by far the best. Great writing, great premise. It's really not a tennis movie.
I watched It Ain't Over, the Yogi Berra story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike, I was thinking about you. I was watching it. I thought it was really good.
I watched that, I don't know, earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
Make the argument that, well, I mean, I don't think there's any question Yogi Berra was one of the great players of all time. I thought it was interesting they make the argument that he was such a friendly, nice person that it kind of warped people's perception of him as a ball player. They thought of him as more as like, well, we named Yogi Berra after him, So he was
Yeah, they thought of him as a cartoon character as opposed to
Yeah.
a baseball star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some very interesting things about Yogi Berra.
Yeah, and
Good show.
his good buddy, Joe Garagiola, who lived up, they both grew up on the hill in St. Louis, probably had a lot to do with diminishing his reputation as a ball player, because he would tell all these stories about yogiisms and his wit and malaprops and all that sort of stuff. And that became larger than life. The fact that this guy was a most valuable player a couple of times on
Right.
great Yankee teams, and just a damn good catcher for many, many years. And that seems to get lost because of all the stories.
Yeah. It opens with 4 guys, four still living ball players. I think was it 2015 or
Yeah.
And they come out. It's like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, and and they show their combined statistics, and then they show Yogi Berra's statistics, and he's like won more MVPs than all 4 of those guys. He's got more World Series rings than all 4 of them put together. And they switch to his daughter, and she says, "I don't know why my dad wasn't out there," And there's a pretty good argument, If
Yeah.
you got whatever you got, 8 or 9 World Series rings, But anyway, It was good.
At least he's got at least 7 I can think of right off the bat. Yeah, but no, it's real good. If you know anything at all about Yogi Berra, it's
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 good, yeah.
yeah, and it's the golden age of baseball in the 1950s, the New York Yankees, all that jazz.
One other kind of twist that happened, he left the team for the Yankees for 14 years or whatever, and he came back, and when he came back, George Steinbrenner finally got him to come back. He threw out. They had Don Larson throw out the opening pitch to that game to him, and so then they went to watch the game. And David Cohn, who is from Kansas City, pitched that day for the Yankees, and he threw a no-hitter. And
Wow.
they're saying, what are the odds of that? And
Yeah.
so there were many things about that show that was really good. Then I wanted to throw out a podcast too that I've been listening to the last few days. It's really good. It's called Gumption, and the guy, who's the guy that was the president in Civil War, Parks and Rec,
Abraham Lincoln.
the movie.
Oh,
Daniel Day?
No, you saw Civil War, didn't you?
Oh, no,
No.
I didn't see it. No.
No, I haven't seen it.
He was also in Parks and Rec, and
okay. I know who you're talking about.
Gumption. It's
He's
really
the
good.
he's the president.
He plays the president in Civil War, yeah. It's obviously Trump now, thinking about it, having another week to think about it. But anyway, Gumption is he tells the story of who he thinks the greatest people of all time are, and number one is George Washington. But it's a really good podcast. I mean, I've been fascinated listening to it. But I think you'd like it too.
I want to throw out a recommendation for Hacks. Anybody remember that series with
Yeah.
Jean Smart? They got their
Yeah, is it back?
Oh, yes, that's so good.
It's back, and they're starting season 3 with her and
Where is it?
It's Hulu,
Uh,
isn't it?
no, it's on
Hulu?
Max. It's
Oh,
on
Max, okay.
It's on
What's it
Max.
called?
Hacks.
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 I thought it was kind of the story of Joan Rivers.
Rivers.
Did you
Yeah.
get? Yeah,
It does look like
Yes.
that at times.
yeah. It reminds me. Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities, but it's really good.
And then I don't know if anybody's made it through Fallout, but for sci-fi, it's not bad. And I think they're up for a season renewal already too.
I saw the first 2 episodes. It was pretty good so far.
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched it. It's good.
there's 8 total, and there's no
What's the
waiting for next
premise?
week or anything. Oh,
What's the premise?
A nuclear explosion goes off, and people either go underground, or if they live up above, they're trying to beat radiation sickness and things like that. It's very apocalyptic sort of thing.
Sounds very uplifting.
Yeah, Walton
bit-
Goggins is who I think is the star of the show. He used to be in Justified. He was the bad guy, and he plays a great bad guy in this. And he brings along some of his friends from Justified, some of the bad guys along the way. But he's a ghoul. He didn't make it back. He was a movie star. He was a regular cowboy movie star, but he didn't make it past the Flash. And he's trying to find his family, and he doesn't know if they're alive. And he's wandering in the desert, which is all there is up above.
So apparently it's a video game, right? that
Yeah,
they
it's a video game.
made. Yeah,
Right.
I've never played it, but
Based
If
on-
you're looking for an antidote, I recommend Unfrosted.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
It's just, and
I
you
wrote
got to be
down-
in the mood for it.
I
Have a
wrote down
couple
the
of
Pop-Tart
drinks
movie. That's
Yeah.
kinda fun.
about Pop-Tarts and Post and Kellogg and their,
What I noticed today was several commercials on TV for Pop-Tarts.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't seen a
Oh,
Pop
yeah.
Tart commercial in decades, but
I know.
they're riding the wave.
Striking while the iron is hot, as it were.
Well, Seinfeld must
As the
love
toast,
the
as the
Pop
toaster is
Tarts.
hot.
Yeah.
Toaster is hot. That's
Yeah.
Jeff. Good job.
Do they still make them? Pop
Oh,
Tarts?
Well,
yeah.
apparently
Yeah.
they still promote them.
Wow.
Well,
I don't
they
think
had
they've ever
they had a
stopped.
bowl game. Pop Tart sponsored
yeah.
a bowl game last Christmas.
All
Wow.
right.
I guess when you like them, you love them.
And there may be a connection because my guess is after a nuclear fallout, one of the few things left remaining could be Pop Tarts.
It has a shelf life of 3,000
That's right.
years. Okay.
That's
Pop
Twinkies.
Tarts and roaches.
Yeah. Oh,
I
my.
want to see if
Full
you
circle.
guys can help me see where I can. There's a docu-film out from 2022. It's Neil Young, Harvest Time. And it's about what went on his farm up in the hills of California, this great big barn that he has. But I can't find where to watch it. It's not streaming, and it said there's another way you can see it, which I don't understand, but if some of you in the know could look that up. It's Neil Young,
Well, Chris,
Harvest
I
Time.
am definitely not in the know, but everything, when I tried to watch Slumdog Millionaire, it kept on, and I went to Netflix and Hulu, went to all of them. They all kept on saying this film is unavailable. And then Gary, and I think it was Gary and Mike, I think, said watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, I told
And-
you that too.
Oh, that's right, Chris. Yeah. So did you try YouTube?
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube.
I mean, did you
No.
try watching this film that you're looking for on YouTube?
Oh, it's not there. I
Huh.
can't find it. So that's why I want you guys to help me. Where this is, it's like a 2-hour docu-film.
Okay.
Neil Young used
All
to
right.
do.
I'm on it.
Neil
You're
Young
on
used
it,
to
yeah.
not put any of his music on Spotify and YouTube and that sort of thing.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
had his own music streaming service. So he may well have his own way to present this to the public.
Oh,
Truth
he's on
Social. Look at
Spotify
Truth
now.
Social.
Oh,
Yeah.
He
His
is
own
on
streaming service.
Spotify now, Mike.
Oh, I know.
Sanders.
He gave up the fight of doing all that, and he's
Mm.
he's on YouTube Music and Spotify and Pandora and all that stuff. But I'm just
Okay.
saying, I went to a thing when I lived in Kansas City. That was at Starlight. It was called Green Day or something. That Neil Young produced a play, and I later saw that on one of his things. Where, I don't know if it's Vivo or something like that, where he bought time for it, but
Mm.
it was kind of a play with music and at a giant screen, and Neil Young was singing and people were dancing and all kinds of stuff. But
Huh.
he's very prolific, if anything. I would love to find this. We'll have to get to looking for it.
Appreciate your help. Has a great song, Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's part of that album as well. So anyway, yeah, send me a email or a text or whatever. I
We could
appreciate
only find Neil Young's 800 number. Then we could invite him to be on and tell us all about it.
Well,
yeah.
Bill Murray's got it.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Bill was in Lawrence, or was he in Manhattan? No, he was in Manhattan.
I just saw it in the Star. I don't know where they were at. Really.
I think he was in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Because his brother's wife went to school there, I think.
Right. Yeah. Then they did say K-State first all the time in that article, so they must have been. If I would have known, I would have gone up there and asked him to join our club. That's what we've always wanted.
Maybe he'll be back.
Someday he'll sneak a French fry off your plate and you'll get the chance.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody got any other ones or?
No, I've got dinner waiting here, so I'm gonna bail.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
All right,
everybody.
thanks,
Hey,
everybody.
what's the pick?
Thank
What's
you,
the
Bill.
pick?
Man on a Wire,
Man on a
Man on a
wire.
wire.
All right.
the documentary about the high wire act between the Twin Towers.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It's a crime movie. Crimes were committed in the making of the movie.
Available,
Man on the wire.
Way.
Man on a Wire.
available everywhere.
What's the movie where the guy climbs up the sheer wall in Yosemite? Solo.
Free,
Solo.
free something,
I think,
free something, free.
Yeah. This
Free
is the
fall.
horizontal. This is the horizontal version of that.
Okay, so is this a doc or is this a movie? It's a doc.
Documentary.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. All right,
Okay.
kids.
Girls,
All right.
See
All
ya.
right.
see ya.
Okay, good
Night.
pick.
Yeah.
Yup.
Bye.
Bye all.
bye.